We want to measure these two line segments, and we want to have this as our unit of measure. Our unit of measure begins here, and it ends here. Now we can see that our unit of measure is larger than each of our line segments. So what we want to do is we want to take our our measure here and break it into fractional pieces. So we fold it once and we fold it again. And here we have our unit of measure broken into 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. And let's mark the parts. Right here is 1/4. Right here is 2/4. Right here is 3/4. So from the beginning to right here, to this mark, is 1/4 of our unit of measure. From here to here is 2/4 of our unit of measure. And from here to here is 3/4 of our unit of measure. But there's something else. Let's look at the marker that goes from here to here. It covers 2/4. But if we take our unit of measure and fold it once, we see that this mark also represents 1/2 of the unit of measure. So instead of writing a lot of fractions, all we're going to do is make this mark here a little bit longer. So now here we have our unit of measure broken into fractional pieces. We have this measure right here is 1/4 from the beginning. This measure right here is 2/4 from the beginning, except because the line is longer, we know there's an additional fraction, which happens to be 1/2. So this is either 2/4 or 1/2. This mark right here represents 1, 2, 3/4 of our unit of measure. So we have 1/4, 2/4 or 1/2, and 3/4. And again, the reason this line right here, mark, is a little longer is that it represents both 2/4 of our unit of measure and 1/2 of our unit of measure. So now let's measure our line segments. We put our unit of measure on our line segment, and it begins here and ends right about here, which means that the line segment is 1, 2, 3/4 of our unit of measure. Now let's measure this line segment. This line segment runs from the beginning on the left to here. That's 1, 2/4 of our unit of measure. However, because there's a longer line here, or a longer mark, we know there's another fraction involved. And because it's 2/4, 1/4, 2/4 from here to here, we also know that 2/4 can be measured as 1/2. So for this answer right here, there are two answers. One of the answers is 1, 2, 2/4, and the other answer is 1/2. So this line segment can be said to be either 2/4 of our unit of measure or 1/2 of our unit of measure. And that's the way we measure line segments when the unit of measure is larger than the line segments.